Welcome to a deep dive that might just change how you think about a pretty common hobby. When most of us picture fish keeping, we probably imagine like a glass tank inside, right? Carefully set up. But what if the best spot for fish isn't indoors at all? Today we're looking at a really interesting piece, Notes on Fish Keeping, Part 120, Why Outdoor Ponds Trump Indoor Aquariums by someone named Ang. And this isn't just, a technical guide, it's more of a personal take, and it really challenges some common ideas about fish habitats. So our mission today is to sort of unpack Ang's argument for outdoor natural settings for fish. We want to explore why they feel ponds often beat indoor tanks, and maybe pull out some surprising ideas for you, the listener. Get ready to maybe rethink aquatic life a bit. Okay, so let's get into it. Ang, the fish keeper in this piece, talks about this daily thing they do, feeding the fish, watching them in their outdoor ponds. And Ang keeps saying that seeing the sun's rays piercing through the water, hitting every corner, it just reminds them why they prefer these natural spots. What jumps out at you about that starting point? It feels very sensory.
It really does. What's fascinating is that right away, it's not just about, keeping fish alive. It's about the quality of that life, the authenticity of the environment. When Ang mentions the sun's rays, well, that's not just aesthetics. Natural sunlight does so much more. Think about circadian rhythms for the fish, their colors getting brighter, even how it helps, beneficial algae and tiny organisms grow.
Yeah.
That creates a whole miniature ecosystem that's really hard to truly copy indoors, even with fancy lights.
Right, that complexity. That makes sense. The authentic versus just engineered. So if that's the ideal, Ang does tackle the next logical step, trying to copy it indoors. They say it's incredibly challenging, costly as well, to replicate that natural feel inside. And even when you try hard, with special lights and heaters, Ang says we can't quite capture that expansive outdoor feeling. It still feels artificial. Why is it so hard? What's missing indoors exactly?
That's a really key question. It gets to the heart of it. I mean, technology is amazing, right? People pour money into full-spectrum LEDs, timers for dawn and dusk, UV lights even, trying to mimic the sun. But Ang's point seems deeper. It's about the things we maybe don't engineer, like the tiny, constant shifts in water chemistry outdoors, the way wind and rain add oxygen, the natural bacteria, the microscopic critters, even things like, air quality around the pond, filters and chemicals indoors. They just can't replicate that same dynamic living system.
So it's the stuff we don't control.
Kind of. It's the constant natural inputs, subtle temperature changes, maybe insect larvae falling in as food, things that trigger natural behaviors. That whole package, that holistic experience Ang talks about, it's super hard to build artificially. And yeah, it often ends up feeling artificial because, well, it is.
Okay, so Ang is basically saying, work with nature, don't fight it. And they make a specific point for people listening who might be in a similar climate. With our tropical climate, and if space permits, we should absolutely take advantage of the natural environment as much as possible. So the pond isn't just nice, it's like optimizing, using what you've already got.
Exactly. Why spend a fortune and a ton of effort trying to recreate tropical conditions inside a glass box when, if you live in the tropics, nature's already giving you stable, warm temperatures and good sunlight pretty much year-round.
Right.
It's about seeing that climate as a resource. It makes the outdoor pond way more practical and maybe, yeah, actually better for many kinds of fish. It does make you think, how much effort we sometimes spend controlling things nature handles just fine on its own.
Aang really drives this home too, saying these outdoor ponds make them reconsider setting up an indoor fish room. That's a strong statement, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. Practicalities. Even in a perfect climate, outdoor ponds can't be all upside, can they? What about things like, I don't know, predators, or a sudden monsoon, or just going away for a week? Aren't those easier with an indoor tank?
That's a really important point. Absolutely. There are definitely trade-offs, no question. While Aang is focusing on the huge benefits, outdoor ponds bring their own set of challenges. Predators are a real thing. Birds, cats, raccoons. You might need netting, or make sure the pond is deep enough for fish to hide.
Okay.
And yeah, climate. Even in the tropics, you can get unexpected downpours that might mess with water parameters temporarily.
Right.
Or too much sun could cause like a massive algae bloom you have to manage.
Different problems than indoors.
Different problems, exactly.
Yeah.
And vacations, yeah. You might need automated feeders or someone reliable to check on a potentially more complex outdoor system. Indoor tanks, despite that artificial feel Aang mentions, they offer, well, incredible control. You can monitor everything closely, see individual fish easily, and keep species that might be too delicate or specialized for the rough and tumble of outdoors.
So it depends on your goals and the fish, too.
Absolutely. It really comes down to what the keeper wants to achieve and what kind of fish they're interested in.
So thinking about all this, what's the bigger picture here? For how we approach hobbies, or maybe even how we set up our spaces. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many people have, like, sunk a lot of money into complex indoor setups, only to spend all their time fighting algae or tweaking water chemistry when maybe, just maybe, nature had a simpler way?
Well, I think this deep dive really pushes us to ask, where are we? Maybe over-engineering things. When does nature already offer a solution that's not just simpler, but maybe more effective, cheaper, and definitely more authentic? It's not saying technology is bad, obviously. It's about figuring out where it really helps and where it might just be complicating things unnecessarily.
Right, finding that balance. So maybe the key takeaway isn't strictly about fish keeping at all. It's more about this principle. When do we really need that minute control over an environment? And when could we perhaps just embrace the natural world around us and work with it, optimize it? Kind of makes you look around, doesn't it? And ask yourself, for other things in life too, am I working with nature here or am I working against it?